Good afternoon from Los Angeles and happy Tuesday. It's Alyssa Quorum and Ken Shreve here with a look at the stock market today. And on today's show, we're going to be taking a look at Q2 as well as Twitter and C Limited. But first, let's talk about the major indexes. It was a really strong day. The Nasdaq closed with a 1.3% gain, strength in small caps today as well. And the Nasdaq 100 looking pretty good here.
Yeah, I mean, the Nasdaq Composite and S&P 500 are getting very close to their all-time highs. The Nasdaq 100 today actually hit an all-time high, so pretty bullish session for stocks, and equally encouraging is a lot of volume in the market today. So volume on the NYSE and Nasdaq coming in nicely higher than what we saw Monday, and you can see a daily chart of the Nasdaq here, just moving smartly above that 8,000 level, and then you've got that high all the way over on the left side of that chart there of 81.33. So NASDAQ is not far from an all-time high.
That's right, and we are in the thick of earnings season here. So, you know, it's still early, but it looks like a lot of positive sentiment about the reports that we've seen so far.
Yeah, no question about it. We'll talk about Twitter in a little bit. Nice earnings from Twitter. We have Facebook tomorrow. We know Snap after the close, and it's a very busy week of earnings, and next week is going to be busy as well.
That's right. IRobot also on our radar, forming a base headed into the report, so we'll keep an eye to see what the early reaction is on that. But first, let's talk about Q2 holdings today, staging a breakout, a software stock in the financial software industry group, gaining 3.2% today in heavy volume and edging just above a flat base buy point.
Yeah, we've been talking so much about software stocks in recent weeks, a lot of enterprise software stocks, a lot of database software stocks, and you got a lot of financial software stocks doing well. So Q2 Holdings, not a widely, a widely known name, but I just wanted to pick this one as, so first of all, it's a member of the MarketSmith Growth 250, so it's got pretty good fundamentals, and this is a really nice technical setup here. You see the stock up nicely today. It breaks out of a base with a 72.10 entry, and they're a provider of cloud-based software to regional and community banks. So they're serving a nice little niche market and making some money doing it. Yeah,
and I would like to point out that base pattern that we are seeing is similar to a lot of charts that we've seen, a somewhat deeper base. This one 35% followed by a tighter base, support at that 50-day line. So perhaps a higher chance of this one working out?
Well, you're right. I mean, we've seen a lot of technical patterns like the stocks that broke out of, say, these kind of U-shaped, cup-shaped bases, and they rallied for a little bit after the breakout, and then they started moving sideways, and that's exactly what Q2 has done. And so that sideways movement is just typically will set up in a flat base, and that's what Q2 is doing. So, yeah, I think this is one that definitely should be watched. It is amazing to see the number of setups still in the market. We've been in a bull market for some time now, but the setups keep emerging, and it's good to see.
Yeah, and hey, if it's anything like what we saw last earnings season, plenty of opportunities for investors, including Twitter today, a big breakout for the social media stock, which gained over 15% in massive volume here. Now, Twitter before today wasn't really looking too good, but the earnings report really helping shares out.
Well, no doubt. It was a big percentage gain for Twitter. A huge earnings beat. Earnings were more than double expectations. Revenue was better than expected. So this is a company now with 330,000 monthly active users. That was down slightly from the year ago period, but I think the market focused on the fact that it was actually up 9 million
from the fourth quarter.
Right. So seeing some momentum here. Twitter's been doing some house cleaning, making their platform maybe a little easier to use, and cleaning up a lot of these fake accounts. So this could be a game-changing quarter for Twitter. Certainly bullish price action today.
That's right, and accelerating earnings growth, more than double what it saw in the prior quarter, so that's always good to see. So as far as the breakout here, we're considering this a breakout from a base with a 37.23 buy point, but with the big gain today, how should investors be handling this? This is one of these breakaway gaps. So we've been talking about this a lot. So how should investors handle that when we typically say you don't want to be buying a stock more than 5% beyond a buy point?
Yeah, so headed into earnings, Twitter was still far off highs, but it did form what we call a bottoming base. And so that's where that 37.23 buy point comes from. So breakouts from bottoming bases tend to happen when a stock is far off a 52-week high like Twitter was. But you had such a bullish gap up. The open price could have been a legitimate entry. Some people might have waited for the first hour high, which was 39.70. So a couple of different ways to play this one.
Right.
But it was just a bullish gap up and a really nice quarter from Twitter.
All right, and from here, either seeing those gains extended or if it can at least hold those gains, that's what we'd want to see.
Yeah, I always want to see follow through after a breakout. So I know the Twitter bulls would like to see an extension of gains tomorrow. It did get a little resistance around the 40 area today, but all in all, a really strong close up near its session high.
All right, well, we are also seeing C Limited out of Singapore setting up in a base here and nearing a buy point. It gained about 3.3% today. It's now just 3% below a potential buy point. And speaking of earnings gaps, last quarter, shares of C Limited exploded. We aren't going to get the results for another couple of weeks here, but this is a pretty good looking base.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out another healthy setup in the market. We hear a lot about these fast-growing China stocks that are, taking advantage of the world's booming internet population in China. C Limited is based in Singapore, so they serve Taiwan, areas of Asia.
Right, and these
Vietnam.
Internet and e-commerce companies out of China,
Yeah.
with the growing population of consumers using their smartphones, buying products, interacting with digital media. So this is an interesting space.
Exactly. So this is an excellent company and a great technical setup. So we've got a flat base forming here with a 25-24 entry. You've got good fundamentals at C Limited, and again, serving vibrant markets like Taiwan, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia. So it's a company executing well, and it's yet another breakout candidate here.
All right, and before we go, just want to look at the early reaction to IRobot earnings. Not looking too good, down about 13% in extended trading so far. So this just goes to show you this is exactly why you don't want to be buying a stock outright heading into that earnings report, because you could have the best setup in the world, but the reaction might not be what you want it to be.
Yeah, and this was even option traders, people maybe expecting a good report from IRobot, maybe nibbled at a call option. They were very, very pricey option trades, so it was not cheap to get into this stock with a call option. Typically, we like to see a premium, maybe 2-3% of the underlying stock price, and IRobot was well above that. So it wasn't really a great option trade either. Stock is lower.
All right. Well, patience is definitely a virtue here with these breakouts. And Snap share is down about 1.4% in extended trading so far. So we'll be keeping tabs on all these earnings reports. So much more to come throughout the week as well.
Oh yeah, big day tomorrow. We've got a lot of leaderboard stocks reporting, Chipotle and ServiceNow. I mentioned Facebook, so it's going to be a busy day tomorrow.
All right, well, that's why you need to stay plugged in this week, especially by watching the show and heading to investors.com for all the latest. And we also have a swing trading webinar that's coming up on Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific. So make sure you're heading to investors.com/webinar for all the details on that. Should be a really good one.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys, make sure you head to investors.com for the latest and check out our content across social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. You know the drill. Subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.